Meeting to order. First item is 2.0, adopts the agenda. We do have an addendum to that you have in front of you. We'll accept the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
David, second by Joanne. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. 3.0, approve the minutes of the November 19th meeting. It's pages 1 through 4 in your documents. Accept a motion to approve.
I so move.
Motion by Olivia, second by
Second.
Joanne. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. 4.0, consideration of bills and warrants, that's pages 5 through 35 in your documents. Any questions, discussion? Not to approve those bills and warrants. Motion by Jeff to approve. Any second for me, please?
Second.
Joanne, second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. 5.0, hearing requests and suggestions from citizens. Anybody here to approach the board? Seeing none, we'll move forward to 6.0, superintendent's report.
All right, we've got a lot of things coming up. It's Christmas. Tomorrow is the last student day, so December 18th is the last student day before winter recess. Teachers will be on duty until noon on December 19th, working on grades all morning. Then that day they're dismissed at noon. So December the 20th through January the 1st will be winter recess. January the 2nd, we are going to have professional development. What we're going to do is our PDC committee has worked together and found people within our district and then some others that are experts in a variety of things. And they're going to provide some Google professional development, some behavior professional development, different breakouts that teachers and staff said that they were interested in learning about. So we'll get together that morning and we'll have a breakfast. They'll choose their breakout sessions and we'll do that. Then they'll have lunch and then spend the afternoon in their buildings doing professional development. So we're excited about that. We're looking forward to it. January the 21st is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We will not be in school. And January the 22nd is the next time we will all get together as a board.
Kiddos back on January 3rd.
Yes, oh, that's true. Yes, kids come back.
Welcome
January
them
3rd.
back, yeah.
Everybody will be there. So the teachers are gonna do professional development the 2nd, and then everybody comes back January the 3rd. That is correct.
Item 7.0 is Board of Education reports. I've got the next two. Page 36 is the Tri-County Board meeting. Again, a very short meeting. We did talk about the Project Alternative School that we will be going to at McCune. Indicator 2 is approved. The legislative luncheon in Topeka on February the 5th. Anybody interested in going to that? We have a couple slots open. If anybody's interested, let Mr. Ray know so we can go. It's been very informative. I've gone the last couple of years and it's very informative. MOE is closed. Category 8 is in. At the executive session, talk about the new application for the new assistant director. They'll be interviewing in the next couple of weeks or 3 weeks, and hopefully the next board meeting we have, we'll have identified a new assistant executive director. And we were done again about 30 minutes, so it was a nice, good, short meeting. 7.0B is the KSB convention. I attended that one as well in Overland Park. Had two really good maiden speakers. The one I liked best was Casey Wolf. And he was very good and talked about his accident where he was going to zip line into the stadium and he fell 70 feet with the zip line not stopping his fall, and he broke out a couple benches in the seats in the stadium and was hospitalized for quite some time, but he's back as being Casey Wolf again, and he was a very inspirational speech to us. I attended 3 breakout sessions. One of them was a school security one. Thought it would be really good. It turned out it was a school that has their own police force, and they talked about their police force for 45, 50 minutes. No, really didn't help us a lot. I did attend the Activity Association's meeting because I am hearing of discussions that we'll be dealing with as I'm on the board of directors, so I wanted to hear what that was. And then I went to one on personnel put on by KSP. You know, if you like them, keep them. If you don't like them, get rid of them type thing. And the laws that we have to follow. And then Dale Dennis and Dr. Watson presented the financial status of what's happening in the legislature, hope to happen in the legislature, and where we are financially. It was a good 2 days. Doug Assembly passed all the recommendations in a very quick, short meeting as well.
Question,
Yes, sir.
Project Alternative, Tri-County busing, correct,
Well, it's no,
in January?
in January. It'll be a van that we will use, and it will be a tri-county para that we will pay because he has time in his day to transport those students both before and after
All right, breakfast and lunches are provided by
at McCune.
who provides that? The school district?
Well, I don't know who does their food service at Project Alternative. I can ask. But I'm sure it's the same people that did it before at McCune, but I really don't know who that is.
The student will pay for their own lunches. Is that your
Is that
question?
what you're asking? Oh, I thought you said who would prepare the lunches. You're asking who pays for the lunches?
No,
Who provides them?
who,
Who provides them? Okay.
right.
Mr. Martino, last year, SEK, they was Southeast, and that's who was food service. I don't know if it is this year, but last year, Southeast provided.
That's correct.
Right there in
They brought that up
Cherokee.
that meeting. Southeast Cherokee High School.
So
Okay, so it's through
247.
the, okay, so it's, I
So
got it.
247 does their
Which
food
makes
service.
sense.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't know who did that.
Any other questions? If not, we'll move forward to 8.0, reports from principals. We have Mr. Swanson and Mr. Barkins up.
Okay, I just have a few items. One, site council, at our last site council meeting, we are kind of organizing kind of a food drive. So we can have snacks on hands for kids. We want to kind of do 3 tiers. We looked at, can we have things on hand for the kids during the day? The second tier of it is, can we then have a program where we send food home on weekends? And the third one was, can we branch it out and do things over break? We're starting small right now. We're going to try and tackle we have hungry kids, and we just keep snacks on hand. We're going to have all the teachers have them too, so they'll be able to provide a snack to kids. So site council is kind of organizing that. Community and schools, they are sending some food home with kids over the break. It's been our announcements. I know Brooke's been working at trying to organize something there, so there will be some food going home over the break. And then the last thing I have is the community and schools. We did a haircuts for the holiday last Monday. And we had 2 people come in, one male, one female, and they were booked solid. I thought that was kind of a neat thing. We put it together in like 3 days. So next time we want to have more hairdressers, stylists, and, provide that service, because that's the thing that when money's sparse, you don't get your hair cut a whole lot. So we had that service for the kids. That was a neat day.
How did that come about? I mean, student
Brooke just
council?
brought the idea to me and said, what would you think about it? And so we talked and then got on the phone and called a few people
That's
and
great.
put it together pretty quick. But we'll branch out, and maybe do something before the break, summer break, and then do it again next year around the holidays.
Our activities in athletics have been really busy November and this part of December. We've had 8 boys basketball games set. Well, as of tomorrow, the boys will have played 8, the girls will have played 7. Our swim team's been to 3 meets. Our JV and varsity wrestling have each been to 3 tournaments. And just this Saturday, we hosted a 4-speaker regional debate tournament that went well. So we've had a busy November and December.
Any questions?
Yes, at your site council meetings, how many, you've had, how many so far? 2. Have they been well attended?
We have had between 7, 8, 9, is that right, Olivia? Yeah,
Yeah, the attendance has been great.
yeah, 7 or 8 or 9. I didn't count specifically. That's just kind of
Are we trying to get it every other month, or what's the target?
every other month.
Every other month?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Cox, Mr. Gordon?
All right. So, we do our positive contacts and reports on discipline every month. And the numbers are a little skewed because it's a shorter month. And so when we give the numbers, just take that into consideration that for this month, we've had about 277 discipline referrals, which seems higher, but in retrospect, for the shortened month, it's not necessarily that case. We look at our positive contacts, and our positive contacts have been down this month as well because of the shortened month. And so there's a correlation there that we've looked at to make sure, and it was the same correlation that we had last month when our contacts were down and our discipline was up. So we're looking at ways to do that, to fix that. We've had year to date, 1,925 positive contacts, community students, parents, all the way around, whether that's in person, whether that's on the phone, and our Viking of the Week and Viking of the Month contacts. As we look at a responsive culture and relationship, we do the Viking of the Month, and that is sponsored by the Elks. We take one student from 6th or 7th grade, and they get nominated based on going above and beyond what the expected behavior is at the middle school. And those students then get a $10 Bleacher Gear gift card. We're fortunate today to have a 7th grade student, and I'd like to introduce Samuel Brewer. If you'd step forward and come on over here and be seen. Samuel is our Viking of the Month for December. There you go. And so these are some things that the teachers and those who nominated him said. Samuel is a kind and respectable young man. He works hard, does his best. He's always prepared, always willing to participate in class. He enjoys being in the robotics, and this was especially, I thought, insightful to him. It was thoughtful that he talked about everyone before he brought any gratitude towards himself or any graciousness to himself. So that was, I thought that was inspiring. He's ready to learn and always willing to do what is needed by any teacher. Here was another thing that I thought was insightful. He's always willing to help others and teach them how to do things and make sure that they understand before he's willing to move on. And so that is why Samuel is the middle school Viking of our month. We'd like to congratulate him. I'd like to take any questions for Sam before we release him back over to his mother? All right.
He's a good gentleman. He's in my son's class.
Yes.
Always been in my son's class. Very good man. So
Very good.
Couldn't expect anything better out of him. So.
As we move forward, we've worked on the ACEs for the last couple of years, and now we're moving towards social and emotional well-being. The administrative team went last Monday to Mays and sat through a 5-hour seminar on social and emotional well-being. But then the middle school had an opportunity. Mr. Gordon reached out to Coffeyville, who has had a program in place for several years. He took a team of staff members down to Coffeyville, and they got to see what they do and how they do it firsthand. They came back with a lot of great ideas, and I've been reading through the emails that they've been sending back and forth about what we should implement first, how we should implement it. And we're working on a plan to take those things that they learned and implement them here. They're very excited about it, and it's just a matter of figuring out which piece is going to work best for us starting in January, and then develop a plan for next year of what else we're going to implement. So we're excited about that. We participated in the Stella Wells auction, and if I recall, the middle school's tree brought in the second most amount of money for that program, and we were very excited about that. And we have lofty goals of becoming the grand tree, the tree that they do last. I don't know about that, but we're going to try and see what happens. I've planted the seed, as you will, and we'll see if it grows. We had our Christmas performance with the high school, and it was a fantastic performance. I want to make a big thank you to Lauren and Aaron Burke and Eric Stark for the fantastic job that they did, getting all the kids together for that performance. It was fantastic. They do an awesome job at building relationships, and because of that, our numbers at the middle school have grown in those programs, and it's just exciting. This morning, they all came together and had music playing, instrumental music playing, Christmas songs for the kids when they came into school, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gordon for his update.
All right, so the next topic is communication and how we're reaching out to the community. Every month, we report on our Facebook account because that's kind of where our focus was. It's continuing to grow. Before I came over here, I mentioned to a couple of the other administrators that we're actually up to 560 page likes. Our goal was to be at 600 before our next January 22nd board meeting, and so we're well ahead of pace whenever it comes there. Athletics, girls basketball finished with 28 athletes. I think they started with 32, so the retention rate was high. The eighth graders finished their season with a record of 9-6. They scored a total of 461 points. They placed third in the SEK shootout, which we held or hosted, and second in the Winter Classic tournament in Pittsburgh. The seventh graders finished their season 9-6 as well. They ended with 390 points scored. This team placed third in the SEK shootout and second in the Bulldog Bark tournament hosted in Independence. Wrestling, they had 7 students come out for wrestling this season. One of them ended early but continued to go to practices afterwards. We had 2 8th graders. Alex Hernandez finished the season with a record of 14-4. The other 8th grader was Aaron Garmacher. He finished with 15 wins and 3 losses, so our 8th graders are successful. The other 4 were 7th graders. They learned a lot about the sport, and each one of them finished with success on the mat. Class leadership is a new program to the middle school. Most recently, they've put into place a program to recognize their supporting staff members of the week. I believe this week was actually Aaron Burke. Students nominate members for our building team during lunch, and they're recognized on a bulletin board outside of the main office. Some of the members we've selected to host the Rotary Club January 10th. The Rotary Club is going to have their monthly meeting at the middle school. We've got a couple of those students selected out of the class leadership, the same ones that presented at our site council. They're going to host the Rotary Club and then take them for a tour of the building afterwards and kind of brag about what we're doing well.
Did you ever get the wrestling mats that you needed?
Yeah, we sold the wrestling mats, and we were able to purchase a couple $600 worth of playground materials for the kids is what we put it towards.
And then where do you do your weight training?
It's in the multi-purpose room outside. We actually got the hand-me-down racks from the high school. Thank you, Rob. And so we've got 9 power racks in our middle school weight room, which is pretty cool.
Good.
It's something that we can brag about, that I brag about at our AD meetings. Right now, we're trying to sell some of the older equipment. We posted that on Facebook. There haven't been any bites yet, but I'm going to look at alternative platforms of selling some of our old equipment so that we can buy lighter bars with our fitness class. Some of the students are 7th grade, and they've never been in a weight room before, and so 45 pounds is asking a lot for a kid that age to move. And so we want to sell some of the older equipment, buy lighter bars, and refurbish some of the benches that were passed down to us is our next plan.
Any other questions?
That's good.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The elementary, Mr. Russell, Mr. Priest, Mrs. Gardner.
Our Garfield students recently collected canned goods for Labette Assistance. Our goal was 180 cans, and the students gathered 256. And, some of the very students that receive from Labette Assistance bring to school, and they find, I feel like, a lot of pride in being able to donate to that. Our little families, I reported on that, I believe, last month, but I met with our current little family leaders and asked them what they felt like the most positive things that have come from this. We started back in September, and they said that it was the relationship connections with the students, the kids connecting at a different level with each other, that they have been able to come in sometimes to the classroom and calm a student down when nobody else could because they had that connection. Being role models for the kids, and they felt like they built a level of trust between them. And then Nikki from Mental Health stated that a big risk factor in students from trauma, or any child, is that they need at least one adult in their life that they can see on a consistent basis who cares for them. And so we are excited after the holidays, January 9th, to be able to open this up to all of our students to be in a little family. And today we took all of our students over to LCC, to their theater. I can't pronounce the official name of it, but it was our positive reward party for them, and we watched Polar Express. And then the last thing is we just ended a week-long book fair. And when they drove up, it kind of caught Robbie and I by surprise, because we forgot back in August that we planned this the week before Christmas break. So it was kind of hard getting volunteers, but Robbie did an excellent job getting volunteers for us. Our goal was not to, normally it's a fundraiser so that, we can get more books for our library. But the goal of this one was that we wouldn't get anything out of it personally for our library, that we would just have the books reduced as much as possible so that we could get more books in the hands of our families. So the books were all buy one, get one free, and we sold $2,000 worth. So I was real happy about that.
All right, so Lincoln's been really busy, especially today. Kindergarten had their Santa stations and had activities that worked with numbers and writing and following directions. And then first grade had their gingerbread house building today, and they've been doing activities, at least for a week or so, that focused on math, reading, and writing. The staff will be finishing our Manny Scott book study on January 2nd in the afternoon. We're going to be talking about that. And then we're going to trade with the middle school and start our new book study. And then I kind of just wanted to give a little shout out to the music program that we had on December 3rd. It was so cute. Mrs. Hoyt does a wonderful job with the kids. And also the strings program that was December 11th. Lauren did a really great job on that too. It was a cute program. So.
Busy times at Guthridge as well. Sam left, but that's a great choice. Sam's one of the best. We really miss him. He's a great kid. Our students of the month, we've kind of copied off some people. We started recognizing students of the month every month. And then Miss Smith prints us a nice little sign to put in their yards. Kids really enjoy it. Brittany Boucher, Fabiola Ramirez, Paisley Wan, Jamaica Reese, Jamani Stanifer, Kara Haviland, Zoe Schmid, Jessica Johnson, Ashlyn Swisher, and Braylon Hinman Mitchell. We're glad to have all them. The kids enjoy those signs, and they're doing a good job printing them for us over here. Last week, our teachers and students finish up their MAP testing, kind of give us an evaluation of where we're at from where we started in August. We're a little behind pace. Some of our teachers are a little frustrated. We don't have as many kids. Sometimes, 2 years ago, we had a lot of kids that already kind of met their goals. And this year, we don't have as many that have met or exceeded their goals. We've got quite a few that have, but it's a good way for us to figure out where we're at, and then we'll use that to adjust our intervention groups when we come back. And then, we went to the trauma-informed care on Monday, and Miss Stringenberg, Miss Gordon, and Miss Good went to Coffeyville last Friday, and then at our faculty meeting, they shared out talking about trauma-informed care, zones of regulation, things that we're trying to do to meet some of the needs of our kids. They're really excited, and we borrowed Mrs. Wan. She came over and shared what she's doing in her classrooms to kind of help our kids come in that might not be in the most prepared state to be learning. So our plan is to kind of do the same thing, and we met last week, and tomorrow we're going to kind of target what we want to do after the holidays to try to make our building a little more successful for those kids that come in that are, if not in crisis, maybe not ready to learn. Thank you. Any questions?
What was the book that your book study had, Shelley?
Turning the Page. Turning the Page. It was that Manny Scott memoir.
And it was an easy read. If you'd like a copy, I finished mine. It's a good book.
It was a loaded question.
I know.
I knew the answer.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Moving on to old business, 9.0. This is in relevant relationship to changing the high school eligibility policy. Mr. Swanson and Mr. Marcus, you want to come up and help us with this? You'll find that on page 37 of your materials.
Okay, so you have the policy there that I've drafted and feedback?
So is this what you want?
Yep.
I'd like the Keisha one, but I think we had that discussion and I thought that was gonna kind of die. The semester by semester one. But this I could do on a weekly basis. This would be very manageable to do. So,
Because that was Jeff's point last time. Want it simple for you. And
I can do this one.
Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Motion by
Second.
Jeff to approve it. Second by Lou. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, carries 7-0. Thank you. New business 10.0 is the acceptance of donations.
Okay, those are on page 38 of your packet. And so, looks like at Garfield, there was a restricted donation for student need, $500 from Kids Local. Elementary indicated donation for $181, so there's $681 there at Garfield donated. At Lincoln, there was a total of $2,440 donated. Julie Piper donated $18 towards the Hicks Scholastic fundraiser. Westside Christian Church provided coats, value of $75. There was an anonymous donation of $40 for Christmas craft supplies. Coca-Cola Give, there was an unrestricted donation of $57. PTO donated for tech team items, $1,450. Tank Connection donated for the Kids Fund, $500. PTO for Christmas books at $300. Guthridge Elementary, it looks like they had a total of $700 worth of donations for the month. Tank Connection made that same $500 restricted donation, and PTO for Christmas parties at $200. Middle school, total of $600 for the month. Tank Connection made that $500 donation, and Wave Wireless made an unrestricted donation of $100. At the high school, there was a total of $3,003 donated. So Nicholas Constant donated soccer club equipment valued at $50. Bill and Jane Reeves, Veterans Honor Flight, $100. John Flores Jr., a football donation of $500. Anonymous donors, the Veterans Honor Flight Breakfast donated $503. Harold and Lena K. Woodward, honors for the Honor Flight, $100. Neil and Patricia Wilkerson for the Honor Flight, $50. John and Andrea Hetlinger for the football banquet donation, $200. Roger Duroni for the football banquet donation for $500. And Pepsi Cola, the junior class donation for concessions. So that totals that. So for a grand total in November of $7,424 for donations. So we appreciate those. People in our community are very generous.
Question.
Question.
But you have
You have a question?
On the soccer club, help me out here.
Well, there's a new soccer club at the high school, is my.
Yeah, Mr. Reed sponsors it. They play after school.
They just play after
It's just
school.
kind of a fun club.
It's just
Okay,
something else for kids to do. Yeah.
that's fine.
And they seem to really like it. At least the sophomore that lives at my house likes it.
Okay.
Perhaps we could put those haircuts, wouldn't that be a kind of a donation as well? The people that did the haircuts?
That would be, and that'll show up on our December report.
Okay, let's make sure we don't forget those people.
Yeah, our December list of donations is going to be really long because we've had quite a few folks this month that have donated, so.
Move to accept those donations.
Motion by Jeff to accept it. Second.
Second. No, you have
Olivia.
three.
Second by Olivia. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes 7-0. 10.1, action on out-of-state high school choir trip to Branson. Mr. Burke, you're up.
Here I am. This is a nice setup. Like, there's like a wall.
Yeah.
Short on money.
So I was.
Short on money tonight.
Yeah.
Just about.
Okay. Well, I'll just go. I wanted to just mention that we did a fundraiser at the holiday concert for Kaylee Sales, the sixth grader, who's at Children's Mercy, and we raised $517 for that, and got that in the hands of the parents. So it was nice to see people give for that. So I'm looking at, myself and Mrs. Burke are looking at taking the choir kids and the high school orchestra kids to go perform at Silver Dollar City, much like we did last year. Last year was a success. It was stormy and
Pouring down rain.
cold, but
I sang in the morning.
we work with this Branson Live on Stage company, and the guy that was our chaperone, I guess you'd say, was very impressed with the fact that our kids wanted to perform. And I was like, I don't care that it's raining. They're gonna sing, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna sing. So we sang for people that were there and staff that were there, but it was a fun event. And we're going to the orchestra is basically going to tag along with us, and each of us will do a 25 to 30-minute set right there at the opening festivities at $0 City, and then we'd have the rest of the day in the park, including a meal voucher. So I guess I'm asking for permission to go out of state. But I've also done some research about getting a charter bus. It would take, with the orchestra and the instruments, it would take 2 buses probably, at least 2 school buses, at least a school bus and 2 vans. So I went ahead and had Amanda do a mileage and cost breakdown for taking 2 buses, and that would be about $950. And I got a quote from Crossroads. I have copies of this if you would like. I got a quote from Crossroads to do that same with 1 bus, because we would fit on 1 charter bus of 56, 50 kids plus instruments for $1,280. So my plan was to ask for the amount that it would take for 2 buses, and then I was planning on doing private donations for maybe business donations for the remainder of that balance.
What is the difference?
$300, $330.
But are you sure you would have room for the instruments, or
There would be
or do
room.
we need to
Yeah.
tag along a?
There's larger storage space in a charter bus than on a school bus, and then we would put the larger orchestral instruments, 2 basses and 3 cellos on basically 2 rows of the seats there.
So how many kids and how many chaperones then?
50 plus. So actually, okay. It's right. It's like 49. It's going to be everybody on there.
Including the
49
chaperones.
plus 2 directors and Weaver, and then the instruments. So we will fit. But it was surprising last year to me that 30 kids on the school bus, whenever they're going on a 3-hour trip, man, that it felt like they were packed in the air, So, but we think it would just be nice for the kids to have that charter experience, and it's not a short trip, so that's kind of the goal there. And the performance opportunity, it was a really good time last year. The kids enjoyed it, and they asked when we got on the bus if we were going to do it again. So.
And that was after they had sang in the.
That was after they sang and wrote. Yeah, it was a fun day.
Have they done anything to try? Because I was there last year. I felt sorry for those kids singing in the rain. I mean, isn't there any kind of portable tents or anything they would have?
So I could check with the company that we use. I mean, certainly if it's raining this year, the orchestra. Would, But I could certainly check on that, because we need to cover the area that they have performed is not a covered area, but it is a place that they have specifically for groups to come and do this sort of thing on campus there at $0 City.
So who's going to pay for are the students paying their own ticket in?
Students are paying their own ticket in. It's the same price as it was last year. That includes, it's a total together using this company with their charter to supply the piano and things and set up the PA. And then the price of admission, and then a meal voucher to cover their lunch, basically. And they can go to any place at $0 City. And it's $71, which is steep. But if you look at the price of normal admission to $0 City, it's a meal, it's more than that already. So it would include 3 comp tickets for the directors as well. is the typical markup for that, so.
So is there just 3 adults going?
There would be 3 of us going, yeah. Yeah. And the kids kind of break into groups. Roger came last year, just to kind of see what was going on, and
We comp you last year?
Buddy, I have a season pass. I don't-
You're just damn regular, huh? All right. That's why you're asking all these questions. You know all the facts.
yeah, right.
Well, I just felt sorry when I'm standing out in the rain. I mean, people would stop and listen
I
for
know.
just a few minutes.
Yeah.
I don't
and then they would
question it.
Go on. But let me tell you, those kids last year,
We're in their
they didn't
ponchos.
have to wait on any rides.
No,
That was-
it was
yeah.
great.
The next day.
They stayed in
Yeah,
Oh,
well, I was anticipating we would stay there the whole time, and they were ready to leave like at 4. I was like, okay, we can leave, that's fine. So,
How would the board feel about paying the whole transportation?
What are we talking about? 12
1280?
$12.80.
You know
for
what?
kids?
Let me, I just want to compliment you and your wife and the new guy in town.
Eric,
You guys have doubled or almost tripled the number of kids that are involved in our vocal and instrumental music, and you're my neighbor, and I'm not trying to brown nose you, because I just think you do a great job, and I would be in favor of that.
I would too.
I think it's a great experience for the kids,
Yeah.
and it's just definitely worth it. And our program's growing, so.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to approve an out-of-state trip for the choir and orchestra.
I so
With the
moved.
district picking up the cost of transportation. Motion by Roger, second by Lou. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Now,
Tim?
this bus company carries all insurance, and I suppose.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, item 10.2 is action to appoint board members to the negotiation team and authorize superintendent to retain the services of a professional negotiator. In the past, I think it's been Jeff and Lou. Anybody interested in usurping them, or are you guys too willing to continue to do that?
The calendar committee?
No,
No, this is
negotiations. Negotiations.
Well, hold on.
10.2, negotiations.
Okay, it says retain the service of a professional negotiator.
Well, that's K&E, or
That's
KSB.
That's Luke Soba from
I thought
KS.
we said that we didn't need to do that this coming year. You're just leaving that as a, if we need, if.
Here's what I would suggest you all do. Talk to the negotiating teams, to the teachers, and say, let's try one meeting.
Well, we did at the end of our last meeting.
And they're okay with that?
I thought they said so.
Okay, and then if that doesn't work, then we
So-
can bring in the outside.
So if we're all on the same page with the teachers, I would leave that out if we,
Okay,
And so then that would mean we wouldn't have someone from KSB and they wouldn't have someone from KNEA.
that was
It was just
my
consent.
understanding.
I think the spirit of this motion is we would have the authority to retain the services at a later date. But obviously, since we're not going to be exchanging proposals for months, it doesn't matter now. And so I think Lou's accurate that we could serve on the team as long as they were willing to meet, try to resolve issues without bringing Tony White. And then we wouldn't hire someone and spend that money. I mean, that's the.
Yeah, it
that's the
was very
concept.
amicable last year, and I think it'll be the same this coming year.
And I don't know what value the whole professional negotiator and Tony and all those, I don't know. I mean, in some years, I guess it probably adds value, but why do it until you have to?
Right.
Why spend the
So-
money?
That's so, yes, I.
Did we have them last year? Was
We
Tony?
did.
Tony
We have
that's
for
what I thought.
about 3 or 4 years now,
Right.
but then before that, there were 3 or 4 years we didn't, so.
you will serve, Lou?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so appoint Lou and Jeff as negotiating team members, and we will authorize the superintendent to get a professional negotiator if needed.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Motion, please.
I so moved.
Second?
Olivia and Joanne. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. 10.3 is the calendar committee. They usually have one member on that, I believe, right? And Olivia, or I believe you have done that in the past. Are you
I'm
interested?
good with the calendar, yeah. I'll continue to do that, no problem.
Make a motion to appoint Ms. Lyons to the calendar committee.
Second?
Motion by Jeff, second by Lou to appoint Ms. Lyons to the calendar committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Action on the high school course description handbook, which you had received a week or so ago. Do you have any questions or discussions on this? If not, we entertain a motion to approve the handbook as presented to you.
Move to approve the course description book for 2019-2020.
Motion by Joanne, second by
Second.
Roger. Discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. 10.5, discussion and possible action on buses and a bus barn for 1920. Lori, this is yours.
This is mine, here we go. Take these and hand these out. Okay, so what I have done is I've gotten on the state website, there's a state bid site where you go in and you put the specs that you want in a bus, and then it gives you the 3 major vendors will then bid that bus for you. And so what I've done is I've come up with the buses that we had talked about and agreed upon earlier that we would need. So I've got 2 activity buses, 3 route buses, 1 special ed bus, which is a smaller bus, a special ed bus with a lift, and then a spare bus. So that's the projected total of 8 buses. What I did was I took the average cost of all of those 3 and gave those to you there. So the average cost of an activity bus with air conditioning and some things that we talked about, $96,000 was the average. Route buses, we talked about using buses, and I guess in bus world, you're not supposed to say used. I don't know, what they call them summer lease returns, because people may lease a bus for 3 years, and based on the month, then turn it in. It's the same thing, okay? But it isn't a used bus that someone's had sitting around that they've not driven, okay? So, and they aren't really, really old, because you can have a 1-year lease return, 2-year lease return, 3-year lease return. And so we looked at each one of those. So we would come up with the 3, and the average cost there was $72,000. And then the sped bus with the smaller one, we can get a demonstration bus, which is like a program car, except it doesn't have fewer miles on it, or in some cases no miles, but since it's a year older model, for about $53,000. The sped bus with the lift would also be new, it's about $100,000, and then a spare bus would run us about $50,000. So I project that total to be around $611,000 for all 8 of those buses. So I did some checking with Craig Newswander at the state, just in regard to, I knew how much we had in capital outlay, and that's there, and how much we had in contingency, and what their recommendation was for how much we should have in cash reserves. They recommend 15%. And so when I look at the capital outlay and the contingency and the total there, minus $611,000, what that gives us, we would still have more than
15%.
More than 15% on hand. Now, this does mean that when we look at a building, look at purchasing and building a building, that may be something we need to look at the cost and say, okay, would we rather lease purchase that? But I do feel like with the amount of money we have in capital outlay and in contingency, this is one of those things we can use contingency for, because we didn't think, and this is, someone's gonna pull out of the bus contract in your bus.
We're really lucky we have it.
So, we are very fortunate that we've been frugal through the years.
On that sped bus with the lift, do we have to have a new one at 100,000? Man, that just grabs you right out
And
there.
the thing with sped buses is that you get a
That's right,
reimbursement.
they're 83%.
Right. And it's an 85?
It's 80, isn't it?
Is it 80 or 85?
It's 80.
Over so many years.
Over 7 years.
So we'll get
Right.
a bunch of that back,
The
okay.
majority,
So Cherryville's in the same situation as we are, and I was reading their article.
They are.
They went to lease purchase, why wouldn't we do that?
Well, they went to a lease purchase because they don't have, it's my understanding, they went to the lease purchase because they don't have the funds to just pay for them outright.
That's what the article in the paper indicated, because they leased from that bank for like 3.some%.
3.23.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, so what about radios and,
right. And so that's why the projected total right here is 611, but I do know, I've got some more information. Each radio costs $250. So there are going to be a few other things, so I don't want to say just 611, because by the time we,
so
the
that
radios-
includes radios?
No, the 611 doesn't include radios. The radios would come separate. What they do is they make sure that the buses have two-way wiring so that they're able to communicate.
And you have to have a tower?
Right, and we already have that. We have the repeaters on the building. We did that as part of that safety and security project earlier.
And remember, the 611 is an average.
It's just an average.
It could be higher or lower than that.
Plus or minus.
Plus or minus.
Now, are these new buses, are they with the state program?
Yes.
So they're set in stone?
Well, you select the
Yeah,
things you
build
want
a
to
bus,
add. It's-
right.
Yes, build a bus. But when I built the bus, that was the average from those three companies for brand-new ones.
Now, are the activity buses the only ones we're gonna put AC on?
In the bids, those were the only two where there was AC that was added.
Right, because those we talked about, and they're white top and tinted windows and to make it a little more,
And I selected
Okay.
like the LED lights on the bus and the extra flasher, just so that it's bright.
and lockable.
Right,
So
the
we can lock
lockable doors, those kinds of things.
So, it's been a while since we've discussed all the financial aspects of this, and so we're talking about buses and a bus barn, according to the line item. So are you gonna give us bus barn stuff tonight as well, or?
What I'd like to do in regard to the bus barn is James and Roger and I have visited, and they've done a lot of visiting with different people that build those, and they've given us estimates, not bids. And what we have found is that there was an estimate that James had the first one, and it was like $38,000. And I'm like, wow, we're gonna get a building for we're gonna get a building in a box, but they're not gonna build it for you for for $38,000. So, and then there was the whole, how wide is it, how tall are the
Freight,
trusses,
yeah.
the freight, all of those things. So my recommendation in regard to a bus barn would be that what I'd like to do is take the opportunity in the next month to visit with some architects and find someone who could draw the specs for us so that we can make sure we're comparing apples to apples, and when we send it out for sealed bids, that what we get back, we'll have an idea whether or not it's reasonable because we've collected these estimates. But we'll make sure that what we're building is what we want.
So what I hear you saying is, we are moving forward with doing our own busing without anybody else. Correct? Okay,
That is correct.
all right.
Have we explored any available commercial buildings that we might be able to go in and retrofit to account for the bay doors and things of that
Yeah.
nature?
Linda and I have kind of visited about just that. There was one building that may or may not, it's been for sale for a long time, but no, I've not done any research into that.
Might want to talk with Debbie Lamb or,
There's a lot of empty buildings
You're
around
right.
town that I'm sure people would like to get rid of, but I know newer, older buildings, depending on roofs and other,
Then you end up maintaining them.
Yeah, so-
But if they're not
right,
in
but
good
it might
shape,
be
but-
at least worth exploring what's available and
And I can for sure do that.
Yeah, I mean, there was just, the article in the paper the other day, they were suggesting that, there were people who were concerned about their wastewater tax going up and fees going up because they had no rental income off their property, and it was a really large property. Well, if it's a really large property, that might be conducive to our
Exactly.
needs, and we could, rent that for a reasonable amount, but, I mean, that's something that probably can be worked out. I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page, that we're moving forward with this process and, hiring the individual to manage this process and the bus barn and all that. So-
It's a big job.
Yeah, well,
It's a big project.
I understand. That's why I wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
And we
I
will
think
have to
that-
hire a bus barn manager, or
Transportation.
A
transportation
person.
supervisor.
when will that
Yeah, we might wanna
employment
bring that person in.
notice come out?
Well, probably sometime this spring. I do think we have someone currently who has driven in the past and has offered and said, well, we could, I could help set it up. Our drivers currently make their own routes anyway. They sit and do that, and then Amanda takes care of that, so. And we have the radio, the dispatch, there'll be a, additional dispatch person that we need to.
So do you have a commitment for the mechanics?
No. I have a verbal, but we've not
Okay.
agreed on anything.
Because we didn't know what we had bus-wise for them to agree,
Right.
because obviously the newer the
Right.
buses.
That's less work for them to do.
Yeah.
So,
I think part of the deal why we talked about the district office was we were just going to start with a shell,
Right.
just something to cover. And then it came in, well, if the mechanic ever don't work for us, we'll at least have one part,
One bay.
one 40-foot bay where we can pull a bus in, change a tire, whatever we have to do in emergency. Because right now, we can only stick the nose in the high school, either door. And that's
You change
it.
tires on buses and such? You
Do I?
that? Yeah, you do that.
Well, I probably could, but I'm a little bit old to do that.
Well, I was just looking to see kind of who we had on, in the works.
But anyway, there would be that bay
capability.
and also possibly to work on if we had to, because the mechanic we might have to do our own.
Oh, you don't ever know.
Yeah, you don't, so we thought at the time, if we just do a shell, now, when you talk about a bus barn, these were without doors, just roof, sides, pull in, protect.
And you have to have a plug-in for the winter time.
Yes,
That's correct.
and that was, electricity was all gonna be done. James thought we'd just all do that later on. The concrete floor would be poured, but the pipes, the conduits would be put underneath, gas lines. Then, when we needed it as such, we could go back. The only door would be the door on there and the one bay, and maintenance could use that to service their tractors, whatever, because their space is kind of limited in there now. And that was the thought, if we're gonna do it, and there is room up against, because we actually own, an extra 10 feet
Yeah,
behind where we thought the city came out.
because
So
they
we
did
own
come out.
an extra 10 foot
They
south.
did measure all of that.
And then
for
where
us.
do you fuel up?
We would fuel at Pete's, which is what they do now.
Okay, so you
So
don't
we-
have okay.
No.
We used to have a tank out
That's
there.
what I
We don't
thought.
want a tank.
You don't think?
We don't want
That's
it,
too much.
the liability and all of those things, so.
Okay, to move forward with the buses, do we need a motion to allow her to move forward and put a cap on the dollars amount for buses? And if so, I would suggest that we cap it at somewhere around 700,000, because we are talking about an average here right now. And then you've got your radios and all those other items that are not available. 700,000 still gives us plenty of money left over in our capital outlay and contingency. And to lease purchase, we're gonna be paying rent, paying interest, and
The money we have in the bank.
on the money we have in the bank, we're drawing, what, 1%? And we're gonna be paying 3.5% interest. That doesn't make a lot of sense if we got the money to lease purchase this time, especially with the other lease purchases we already have in place.
Well,
As far as,
my question was so the public knows why we're doing it.
Right.
Right, and that's why.
as far as the used buses, there's no other better, this is from the state program also, or is this another program?
And so the way it works with used buses is that's not directly from the program. You work with different dealers to see what lease returns they have.
No.
And so those lease returns that a couple of them have, that's the average cost. So I may
it
be
could
able to get a better deal, I may get an older, but I mean, because the buses we'd be getting would be 2020 models, because everything's like a year ahead. So 71 passenger 2019, that's just a year old, that only has 15,000 miles on it, you can usually get that, 78,000, where, and then the older they get, the lower it goes down, the average. But that's where it's just an average, just projected.
So
And
what
you don't-
company were you talking about for buses?
Well, there's 3 different buses. There's Bluebird
Right.
buses, there's International buses, and there's Thomas buses. Those are the 3 main companies.
Yeah.
So this is the average of the things that they've done on the state website.
Because Cherryville chose Thomas because of the warranty, I guess.
And I'm not sure if that's who is that
Yeah,
what the
that's
paper
what
said?
I think that's what the
It's a-
article said, wasn't because of longer warranty?
Right.
But didn't our mechanic kind of make an oral commitment, or he just said he'd be interested?
We verbally discussed it, he's called a time or two, so I think we can work that out. And one of these companies has a mobile mechanic as well. So if you're stuck somewhere, the mechanic will come to you. And 2 out of the 3 companies did agree to allow a local mechanic, once they've checked them all out, to do the warranty work. So it wouldn't be necessary for us to take a bus to Manhattan or to Wichita to do the warranty work, so.
But hopefully, like Jeff said, with these enough new ones, we shouldn't have,
There won't be
what,
much.
15-year life, so.
And the plan would be then that every year we would determine what we would save, and then every second year, we would purchase a bus. One would cycle off, and a new one would cycle on, so that within 14 years, with the exception of the spare bus, everything would be, so we're keeping up.
But we could continue to buy used buses
We
if we
could.
wanted in
And keep
those
it.
segments, except for the activity, I can see that.
We sure could.
Do you think 700 is enough, plenty? Should be.
It should be.
I think
If not, you can go back to us and ask for more,
I
right?
think we
Or either
could.
take less.
12 or 13%, so that should be sufficient, I would think, above your average.
I so move that we action and have Lori pursue the purchase of these buses.
Roger's made a motion to pursue buses with
With
a
a cap of
$700,000 at the time.
700,000.
I think Joanne shook her head that she was seconding it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carried 7-0. What about the bus barn and the architect at this time?
And so I think those architectural fees would be less than, the $10,000, which is required for board approval. What I'd like to do is just reach out to a few architects and kind of see what the cost would be. The group that did the track would not be one of those groups, and then see what they have to say.
Come back to
Because
us.
I'm afraid that if we say, oh, this is the kind of building we want, and we tell them it'll either come in a box and it won't be put together, or it'll not have the right size doors, I just think we need to have someone who builds buildings for a living, make sure that they give us the specs so that we can get what we want, and we get it right. It's too big of an investment, so.
Bring it back to us in another month or so?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've got plenty of time
And
for
let's not
that.
rule out,
Yeah,
paving
explore
buildings.
commercial.
And I
looking
can,
at
I
the
can,
existing
sure,
buildings.
I can explore some commercial options and see what there is, and then I can bring all of this info back to the January board meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
No
Ruth.
vacation for you.
That's okay, Matthew's having his wisdom teeth
Oh,
out, so we're not on vacation anyway.
10.6, executive session. What are we doing about the security issue?
Well, I think both of the gentlemen are here.
James out there?
back there? Yeah, he's back there.
Okay,
He was
they're
just-
there. All right.
I thought they were back there.
We have a need for executive session to discuss not only personnel, but also safety and security matters. How much can we,
How much time, James?
how much time are you gonna need,
10
James?
minutes?
Yeah.
10.
10 plus
So 10 for that and maybe 10 for the other. I think
20
we can get it
20-minute
done.
executive session,
I think so. Let's show them.
including James and John Wells. Is he here?
He's back there.
Okay.
He's back there. All right.
So, have a motion, please, from someone?
I so move.
Roger motions.
Second?
Joanne, second. Go to executive session for 20 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel under coma, confidential student information under coma, and also safety, school safety matters. So not to jeopardize any security issues, we go into session at, give me a time frame here, is it 7 o'clock? At 7 o'clock for 20 minutes. Return back here at 7:20. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signs, carries 7-0.
Shutting me off, you're right in here.
I know, I'm amazed at the number of teachers that have all those. I can't believe, because I asked her, I said, how many are at the, gee, Christmas, it's pitiful. And some of them just take it every year. There's none, I don't know what they do. Every year.
We want to wait on Ms. Lyons?
It's up to you.
She said to go ahead and proceed.
Okay, all right. We on? Okay, we're back in session. 10.7, action on personnel. We have a couple of resignations, a couple of recommendations for employment. So, Lori?
Okay, so resignation for employment, we have Mike Kroll, high school girls basketball head coach, effective at the end of this season, so he'll be here for the remainder of this season. And resignation from Letitia Fauntleroy, who is a Lincoln aide, effective December the 12th. I recommend you approve those resignations.
Motion to accept those?
I so move.
Motion by Roger,
Second.
second by David. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 6-0.
All right, recommendations for employment, Rob Barkus, high school head track coach, effective the 18-19 season. Lizzie Smith, high school assistant swimming coach, effective the 18-19 season. Eric Swanson, high school boys assistant basketball coach, effective the 18-19 season.
You missed
Ms.
one.
Jarvis.
Oh, and he has withdrawn from employment.
Okay.
He's moved. So,
So move.
Motion by David to accept those,
Second.
second by, is that Jeff? Or
Roger.
Roger? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Any requests from board members?
Going back to Roger's comment about site councils, they're supposed to report to the board once a year, so hopefully we could hear from them maybe next month or the month after. or-
Sure.
These have been annual reports, so somewhere between now and the end of the year, we should have reports from them.
No, what are you talking about, elementary?
All of them.
All of them, okay.
All of them.
would you prefer a written report or
No.
just?
No.
Oh, and we had talked about the buses, just real quick, just so we don't have a bus that's any newer currently than 2014 that we're using now. So,
Okay.
I thought that was interesting, so these will be like,
Okay.
we're out of town.
No written report.
No
from
written.
site council, no.
You just want you want them to come and talk? Sure. Okay.
Just like Eric did tonight.
If nothing else, wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
Be safe to travel, and meeting is adjourned.
Thank you very much.
And we have a resignation